Yeah. I wonder why they do that.
What would you be embarrassed about?
All these Peterbilt drivers that let the air clear out of their seats and sit, they're just too embarrassed to be seen in there.
Oh, that's what it is. I wondered about that. Albert, you remember any good stories or anything that happened hauling off a Tombstone?
One time, it snowed. I was second to load out, and the guy ahead of me, they'd put chains on his truck, and I went without any chains. And before he got to the top, he started spinning out, so he stopped and put his chains on, and here I come loaded, and I passed him, and I was just shivering every minute of the way because somebody might have come in, but if I had went that way, I'd have been over the bank.
Was that on the highway?
That's on the highway.
Well,
yes.
It worked out okay, huh?
Worked fine, yeah.
Well, thanks for the story.
Yeah.
Now there's some old truck drivers right there. Especially that one. No, man, let's start over. Cal was doing what?
He come out of Sheep Creek. And we were logging back in on Deer Creek.
Well, he didn't come out of Sheep Creek because he was behind you. If you was coming out of Deer, he must have come out of Lava Lake or somewhere.
I come out of Deer Creek.
Where'd he come out of?
He come out of Sheep Creek.
And he got in behind you?
Yeah, come in behind me. So down the hill we went.
Well, that's pretty good hill coming down out of
I'll tell you, we went miles an hour. So I got down to Mountain House, and Cal pulled off. He kept lagging behind, and he pulled off. I heard him on the radio. I says, why didn't you tell me you was going to stop? He says, well, I did, but you're so far ahead of me. So I had to go down to the old reload down there and turn around and go back.
I'm going to have to get his side of this story. I think you old guys don't remember the same.
Oh, we remember it all.
You got any other good stories?
No. Other than when Higher
this is higher.
Laid the road out on Sheep Creek.
This is higher right here.
And after the snow all melted, we found out he didn't even blade off the road. He just bladed across the snow.
You're right about that.
Out of that one twist back.
Did you end up stuck?
No.
It started melting, though. The road wasn't there.
There was no road there. Yeah, I was back in the good old days.
Well, now I see.
Today it's a hazard almost.
Yeah, it's not as much fun, is it?
No, it's not.
Hard one, and the damn boosters were leaking.
Start over on this story. What happened now?
The booster was leaking off.
Now what you was hauling?
He was the one I got on there, but
what was you hauling?
had a rubber-tired shovel, self-propelled.
And you pulled on the scales?
And that booster started leaking off. I was legal when I pulled on there, but she wrote me a ticket anyway. $1,200 ticket.
How much? Did you beat it?
$1,200.
Did you beat it?
No, I didn't beat it.
So what was you saying about a little gal did what? You
tried to tell us how to drive truck that she learned 2 weeks in school that we've been doing for 40 years.
You told her what?
I better not say it. But back in them days.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a job, but that was a lot of fun. They might beat me to the top, but it's going to be hell race down the other side.
Now, what was going on?
We got up early one morning, went up to get a little log, and Jim and I were sitting on the landing. We were waiting for the crew to get there. I can't remember that kid's name that run the SJ4 for you. Run it for Jerry. Anyhow, he had a beard. Anyhow, we was waiting for a little log, and pretty soon we could hear it. Jerry was late. Dark. Here he comes. No lights. He got up there, and the headlights and the grill and everything was gone. What happened, Jerry? He said, I don't know. He said, I either hit a hippie or a deer, and I didn't have time to wait and see who it was. I kept going.
There's enough food left for you.
He was up here on Browder Ridge one time. We waiting for a log. Old Gabriel come over and said something bleakly, and I was standing there. And Gabriel or Bleakley said something to Gabriel. Gabriel said, or Bleakley says, when's the last time you've been stood on your head? Gabriel says, you're not man enough to do it. Boy, he stood him on his head in a heartbeat. But then they got, oh, him and old Bleak used to go round and round. Got on the skidder one time. We was on the hog back down there off of Deer Creek. I got on the running board on Jim's truck, and Jerry was pulling us out with the skidder. So I got up on the running board right up to get my truck. Jerry got the skidder up there, just a clawing and a digging and a cussing and a moaning. I looked in there, I said, Jim, put that sucker in gear. I got to tear my tires up, let him tear.
It's burnt a bit of fuel, right?
Yeah.
Not our own tires.
Just let the skidder do it all, huh?
Oh, he was tough.
Oh, yeah, I got you there.
Stevie saying something?
Yeah. That gal over there told me to ask you what GMC stands for.
Go mighty careful.
Go mighty careful. Okay.
Okay, well,
We're a fat boy, it's here right front row for you.
this didn't happen on Tombstone Pass, but it's real close. It's in
Okay.
the general area.
That's good enough.
And there's two versions. You're gonna be all right. There's my version and there's Robin's version. Okay. Anyway, I'm up here on a timber sale and we're building road, and we're hauling rock here from out Deer Creek over to what's that? Toad Creek. That's where we're hauling rock. And anyway, I was in the pit loading the trucks, and I had just bought this old truck. It was an old Peterbilt, kind of off-highway rig. And my mechanic, Gordon McPherson, had just spent all winter fixing that truck. I mean, he had a beautiful job on it. It was in really good shape. And the guy driving the truck, he come in, took off that morning. It was Dale Reeves. And he told Dale, he says, man, I hope Mike don't put some old cloud jockey on this truck and tip it over right away. You know, so anyway, Dale's running back and forth, and we had about 5-6 trucks running, and Ivan was on the other end doing the grade work. And so I decided to go look at the other side of it and see how it was going. I told Dale, you run the loader, I want to go see what's going on the other end. So I loaded that dang old Peterbilt up, and I'm heading out Deer Creek. And that's when they just got done paving it, narrowed it all up. Well, I met this guy coming at me, coming in empty. And it was a few years ago, and he was in the hurry-up mode.
Oh, no way.
I can't hardly believe that. No. And we met. Okay, I'm getting over as far as I can, and I dropped that dang front end off that blacktop, and I can't get her back. And it's just coming, and about the time this guy goes by me, I'm all the way on over. I mean, I'm on my way.
I was stopped.
And I tipped right over against the bank, and there she lay, right there. And anyway, but it didn't turn out bad. Clear Lumber was logging up there, Odie Vanna, brought his skidder up there, car buckled me back up on my feet, and only messed up a mirror is the only thing. So
what's your version, Robin?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Robbie. Well, he scared the crap out of me. I was kind of going around that last corner there on a little straight stretch up where that road takes us down the hill, and all of a sudden, here comes this big, ugly-looking thing with no paint on it. And I think our mirrors missed about that far, but he wasn't going to hit me. I mean, I got stopped. And I looked in my mirror, and he had one of his rear drivers locked up, and that wasn't helping him because it was sliding and it's working its way right in my mirror. That guy's going to accuse me of running him off the road. I got out of my truck, and about that time this little round head pops up out through the driver's door and he's looking at me, he's laughing. It's Mike.
Yeah.
I offered to help get back on the road. He said, no, you can't.
Yep. Can't miss
Just
a
keep
trip.
going, you can't miss a trip over this.
No.
Oh, thank you.
That was a good way to get acquainted.
You got the plow jockey wrong.
Was
That
it?
was that's part of the joke. That was me that told you that. I remember.
Oh, you're the one that told me that. Okay.
I remember you'd been driving that truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That steering was weird on it.
But that, okay. I thought Gordon made that comment.
And knowing Mike Melter, he had just a legal load, of course.
But hey, in my defense, now I'm coming uphill loaded, and he's empty going back to the landing. Now, who do you think would be hurrying?
So, Guy, I got the camera on you. Tell me about the Max Kent thing.
Well, one morning, I was coming back from my first trip. Dumped Old Lama National. This tells you how long ago it was. Came up to the 20-mile-an-hour corner, and everybody knows where that is, I guess. But anyway, it's a sharp corner. And there's a guy standing out there on the road. And I thought, well, that's kind of strange, you know. And I got closer and started slowing down, and it was Max Kent. And I thought, well, what's Max Kent doing there? So I stopped. No CVs or anything. And I said, Max, where's your truck? He said, it's down over the hill. I walked over there and looked, and there it was down there. A load of logs that went clear over the cab. And he jumped out and just went over the bank.
Wow.
Yeah, that actually happened.
Yeah.
He'd have fired you if you'd have done that.
Pardon me?
He'd have fired you if you'd have done that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Robin.
About 2 days. Oh,
Go ahead. No.
About 2 days after that, we were hauling off of Soda Fork on the old road. And they were private roading with regular highway trucks, old Diamond D's. And we were coming down by where the sulfiner shack used to be. And I was actually coming up and the traffic was all stopped. Couldn't figure out what was wrong. And a guy had lost his brakes up there. Actually forgot to put water in on the brakes. He jumped out and he didn't make it.
I think I heard my dad tell that story.
I don't think I
Robin?
I know.
I've just got done talking.
I know, but you got a pretty good story about almost running over the scoop mobile.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd call this story. I guess no water on the brakes would be a good title to it. I was driving a 52 West Coaster with a 200 Cummins. And I had to stop at the top of Tombstone every time unplug up all the nozzles that were plugged.
Whose truck was it?
No advertising.
I better not.
Okay. It was Wes Strubar's.
Yeah, he didn't have a real good maintenance program. Anyway, I was in a hurry because I knew I was about ready to get past. So I thought I'll skip the water check this time. And by the time I got down to Snow Creek, I stepped on the brakes to go around that corner and I realized I had a problem. I was stepping on a sponge and I was doing about 35 miles an hour. I had about another 10 minutes of driving at that same speed, and I was a scared little boy, I'll tell you, because I knew I couldn't get stopped, and I knew I was going to have to go around 20-mile corner. Anyway, I get down a 20-mile corner. What should be going on? But the state highway's cleaning the ditches on the inside. And they had a bunch of signs, like slow down, flagman, and all this. I knocked every one of them down because I was already in the ditch. And that flagman looked and he seen me knocking them signs down, and I seen him waving at that scoopmobile driver, get that thing out of the way. He backed her up and I squeezed between him and the bank and went on around there.
You got her stopped?
I finally got stopped. After I put it in the ditch. I mean, it was mud, you know. Slowed me down a little.
They was cleaning it out for you. You helped them.
Well, that scared me when I seen him because I knew I'd kill him if I hit him. Anyway, that's good enough.
It's a good story. Who's next? Sid?
I don't know nothing. I'm here no evil, see no evil, speak no evil.
You do real good when nobody wants you to talk.
Volkman always told me if you go down in a hurry, your brakes won't get hot.
You ever had anything like that happen on that hill?
Nope.
Sid, tell them about the time you broke the spring or the suspension on your old Peterbilt. You had to get a block of wood and put in it.
At what?
Block of wood and put in it. Just hauling off the middle fork.
But the one I like better is the one I worked for Haley up there off of Whitcomb Creek. No, M&M Main Line. We was up there and I told him to Porty Road. I'm not in a hurry, usual.
You were always in a hurry.
I stopped dead in the road and I heard Haley coming in a pickup. He had that old GMC with a hydromatic in it. He got her stopped and he got out and he said, what's the matter? And I said, well, the road's dead gum rough. It pulled my axle out of my back of my spring. Oh, well, I'll be right back. Got in that old pickup and it wouldn't back up. He did that old hydromatic wouldn't move. So he finally kept wiggling it back and forth. He finally got it turned around. Pretty soon here he come with a D8 cab. Over the bank he went. Turned around the other side and he got the blade under the load. I got the drum line, I pulled it around, tied it to the axle. He set that trailer back, got the axle back in the old Peerless trailer. Got the spring back in the pad again. I tied a big chain around the axle. Got her all tied back together. Let the load back down. Send me on my way. He said, see you tomorrow. And I said, I'll have it fixed. So about an hour and a half later, I'm back after another load of logs. Man, where'd you get that fixed at? I said, I didn't. It's all right. It'll make another trip. We had to finish a week out. And then
Just change chains once in a while.
yeah.
What was that again? What was that again?
He was a doer, not a listener.
Who was that?
Dewey Goodell.
Oh, his granddad?
Yeah.
Well, I think it continued right on down the family line.
Oh, yeah. Very much.
Tell about the time when you lost the yarder coming out of Deer Creek up onto Highway 20.
I was afraid you might ask.
Tom?
Well, I wasn't there when we lost. I saw the results there. Pulling that hill up to the highway. In the winter, frosty, spun out on that hill.
Going to turn up the
Baldy was driving.
I got a jackknife.
So we bailed out, and Jerry was pulling the haywire, put it on a tree, and going to try to pull it up through there.
Remember that?
And Baldy jumped out to help him. That truck only had one axle on the maxi.
One brake working?
Well, that's all it had on it.
Oh.
One maxi.
Two maxis.
And when he bailed out, he got about halfway back there to the back of the yarder to help pull on the haywire. He started back down the hill backwards. And it didn't go straight. It jackknifed right over the bank. That was an awful mess. Tore up the asphalt, and we cut all the trees in sight, trying to get blocking the foot under. At least the Forest Service never charged us for it. But we worked pretty near all day getting it out of there. That was early in the morning.
The time when he was going to turn up the 100 line and turned the shovel over on the lowboy.
Oh, you remember that?
I'm not going to let you forget it either.
I thought Joe Schutzman was the only one that came by.
No.
Isn't it funny how everybody remembers every time you screw up, Tom?
I turned so short, he broke the pin off.
Was that what happened?
Yeah, broke the pin off the trailer.
I remember when I was hauling logs up there for you guys. We was down on what, Browder? What's off that?
No.
Two girls on top of Sheep Creek. What's the name of that junction up? We went down on the other side. Broke down or something. Anyhow,
Browder went one way.
But anyhow, I went back. I was going out empty. I got up the top of the hill, and I think I met Cal Emmert. And I says, I wonder if old Tacky give me a load of logs.
Finally, it kind of veered over the
Drive down and see. It ain't that far down there. So I drove down there. The old man was sitting on the shovel. I walks up and I be a chance to get a load of logs from me from town. We're broke down.
That's the front wheel of that stupid truck.
Kind of looked me up one side, down the other.
Big old jerk, and there was pipes and stuff going
So I think I can whip you. He said, back her in here.
Who was that?
I'll never forget that. He said, I think I can whip you. Back her in here.
Who was that?
Old man Tack.
Oh, old man
See,
Tack.
old man, yeah. He was running the shovel. He said, I think I can whip you. Back her
Get
in
over
here.
there where we can get the camera on you.
Never had no brakes on the main run.
I could probably not.
No, he flipped that frickin' all the way around and go.
Old man John Tack? Old man John Tack?
They were, I don't remember, working up in the Middle Fork somewhere, and we went up there to load export one morning, and it was right after daylight, I guess. And John was on the shovel, and if you'd say anything on the radio and call him, he'd say, yeah, come on in. And so anyway, up there, and I think I was waiting to load, and man, that old shovel just started smoking and just boiling smoke out of it. I thought, man, that thing's on fire or something. Jimmy went up there and plugged the air cleaner up on it. You remember that? I do.
He plugged the air cleaner?
Put something right around the air cleaner so it couldn't get any air.
Why?
I saw you do it. You're not going to get out of it.
Why would he do that?
No wonder you forgot about it. I would do.
I don't know what would cause that.
There's another one of them deals you're just talking about. Yeah. You remember it.
Yeah.
Keith?
I remember one time.
Any good stories, Keith? Oh, go ahead, guy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I remember one time we was moving a tack shovel, Mike's truck in Lowboy. We were moving a tack shovel, if I remember right, it was a 110 link belt, heavy, no boosters, a regular melter load, and we were going up the 100 line, and the jaw on the fifth wheel broke.
Yeah.
We caught it before it got off the truck.
Before it fell off the frame. Yep.
That was
we had the
scary.
long gooseneck. So yeah, on the trailer. So he had a
Gooseneck
little
was laying
bit of
on the
time.
frame of the truck. Mike was down with the gout.
Oh yeah.
So I went up there and helped out his feelings. I said, Mike, we got a problem. He said, what's the problem? And I told him, and he said, well, that's kind of your problem. Go get a fifth wheel. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
He's a very good guy to work for.
Got a story,
Very
Jim?
good guy.
Keith? Jim? Oh, come on. I know you got a good memory. Albert, you got anything to say?
Jimmy, I remember that. It was a sweatshirt. I remember it. An old orange sweatshirt.
Would have been orange.
Well, he'd have done that. It was cheaper. He wouldn't have been green.
Yeah, you
when
did
he
I
that.
wouldn't wear orange. Maybe green or yellow, but
Yeah.
Okay, Albert, what do you got?
I don't really have anything. I remember one time I was really scared. I was
Don't have
driving
anything.
Paul Hudson's. He had an old six-banger, and they was logging just there above the dam on Hufford Road, behind the gate there. So he come to me on Friday night, and he said, I want that truck up there tomorrow afternoon. He said, we're going to take and haul a sweater over Big Cliff Dam, that burn that we hauled off of there. And he said, we're going to hide it because we don't want anybody to know it's up there. It's overweight, overweight. And he said, we're going to leave at 4 o'clock in the morning, on Monday morning. He said, I want you to be sure and be there. So I was there, he was there. So we got started and went up over the pass. And the yard engineer was with me. He said, I'll ride with Al. And so we broke over the pass, over the top there, and there was a little ice now and then. So we took it pretty easy to go down to the north side there at the junction. We started down toward Detroit. We met a state rig. And Paul said, I don't want you to get me a ticket on this. He said, I want you to get it there. And he said, get there as fast as you can. So we got on the other side. The old truck didn't have much power going uphill, but it was high geared, and so I was letting it go pretty good. And Joe says, oh, I'm getting sleepy. He said, I'm getting awful sleepy. He looked over and seen the speedometer, and so then he got sleepy. We just got there at the junction, just before we got to Sardine Creek there. And now let's see, it was just past there, right there at the Big Cliff Dam, where there was a place we could turn around just beyond there. We turned around and the crew was behind us, and they hooked a H-19 on the front, and they had a scoop, a little I think it was a 5, that was AC. They hooked on behind or pushed, and we just got off the road, and the crew come up behind us and said, hey, the Waymatchers are sitting down there. So they figured, they must have reported it, and they figured that would be a coming, see, and they were waiting for us. And so that's probably the worst scare I ever had, because it was way over.
Been a lot worse if we'd have caught you.
You dodged,
that route,
you dodged them that time, huh?
So that's kind of where Keith got that, just letting it go then.
Well, I don't know about that, but it was kind of dangerous, it really was. Because you had cheese blocks and it was over with and everything.
I could tell one about coming off that job when we worked the fall up there. My truck was floating in the snow doing about 65 miles an hour loaded.
Hey, Jim, you had one to tell about Robin?
Yeah, I do. He hasn't mentioned it at all. I kind of surprised him to tell a whole lot about that little situation.
What's this now, Jim?
About a Jeep. He don't know anything what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm not too sure I want you to do much more talking.
It was an embarrassing moment for him, let's put it that way. But he put his little Jeep behind the big log truck one day.
Go ahead,
And
Sounds like he's going to, whether you want him to or not.
he took it off with his truck, pulling that thing, and it didn't seem to have the power it should have. But it was getting up, and he was getting up to highway speed, so he was satisfied with that until he looked in his mirror. There was smoke coming out of his Jeep.
That's great.
And he remembered he didn't take it out of gear.
Left it low gear.
Was it reverse?
No.
No?
God.
I left it in low gear. It's probably turned about 12,000 RPM.
That's all I have.
That's a pretty good one. You know, Robin never told us that story.
No, I don't think so.
The Ravens a little bit ago.
Well,
What's the deal on the Ravens?
it was back in the, probably in the late 70s, early 80s. Trucks didn't have a lot of power yet. But anyway, on this Tombstone Pass over here, and I hadn't known about this yet, but it had been going on for a long time. And I usually didn't haul many logs. Every once in a while I'd get in the truck and haul. And I was coming up that Tombstone Pass, and all of a sudden there was something right there at my window looking at me. And I talk about scaring me.
Scared the daylight right out of you.
There was this old raven, or this ravens, that would come up along your truck as you pulling that hill and looking for food. You'd throw food out and give it to them. But but there's a lot of guys here that can talk a lot more about that because we all experience
You don't trick them.
No.
You can throw anything white out, and if it ain't something to eat, you can't trick them. You can't throw a piece of napkin or something out. That just goes on the way. They wait till the food comes. They know when there's food going out the window.
He'd fly right alongside you and look right in at you, wouldn't he?
Like Mike says, you're least expecting it.
Oh, man.
Here's this thing right here alongside you, flapping his wings. Wakes you right up in a hurry.
With the old head turn looking right
Yeah,
at
no kidding.
I think everybody here that hauled logs off Tombstone can remember the Ravens.
Miles an hour.
And if you don't feed them, they'll just turn around and go back.
If you give them what they like, they'll eat it and catch you again before you get to the top of the pass, too.
Didn't have much trouble.
I can tell you, probably that isn't totally true. I don't think they ever caught Keith Cowan.
I just wondered how they knew what soup he had in his lunch.
They did. I got the 400, and then that was the end of it.
Yeah.
What they did with the guys like you is they'd sit in a tree and wait. If you throw them something, they'd make a circle and get it. They didn't try to follow you.
I can remember old Keith when he was a little kid. He had a 56. Oh, wasn't a 56. About a. What was that little black Mustang he had?
67.
Yungini. Stopped by. He wanted to drive truck. If I remember right, you were driving truck for Tyler.
Yeah, that was my first job.
First job, driving truck for Sam Tyler. He wanted a truck of his own. I want a truck of my own. That's what got him started. Then he went and bought what was that auto car? 60?
73.
Huh?
73.
73, that brown one.
Well, tell us about the first load you ever hauled. Whose truck was it and where was you and all that stuff?
First one I learned to drive was Dwayne Emmer. He was up East Mountain.
How about the first one you took to town by yourself? Where was you at then?
I was up on Owl Ridge. Steeper than a cow's face, and it was your dad. It was his truck.
You gotta remember, some of us guys are older than you and can't hear too good. Speak up a little.
Little bit louder.
Even us ones that younger couldn't hear you.
It's Cal Emmerich's truck. First load I brought into town by myself. He was riding with me. Johnny Tack come over and said he wasn't a cat skinner. Cal had to prove it. We come up, jumped on a run board. He says, I was loaded. He says, can you get that to town by yourself? Oh yeah, I can do that. I started off Owl Ridge and I went around that first corner. It was so steep. I started sliding. I didn't know what I was going to do for a minute. And I finally got her stopped and I took off again and my knees were knocking. It happened about twice. I got her lined out and I got down to the bottom, made her to town, come back. Cal said, how'd it go? And I said, just fine.
He said, "You want to do it again?" Yeah. Okay. So I took it down the second time. Then I think my dad chewed him out for letting me go.
I don't remember that one. I learned on Dwayne Emmert's truck too. It's brand new, and I was still in high school, and him and Linda got married. He had that, this is what was 72 Kenworth there, I think it was. And I drove it, although come down off the pass, off the back of Sheep Creek, and I met one of Weimer's trucks. It was probably Al Cowan, I don't know, it wasn't. But he come around there by Squaw Creek, you know how that corner is kind of sweet. He had a pretty long log on the left wing log. Of course, I was trying to make a little time, you know, because I was go slow loaded, but you know, I thought I was pretty good empty, and I was making a pretty good time coming up, and I was hugging the yellow line a little bit, but he was a little bit over the yellow line, and I don't know why it didn't tear the mirror right off the Main Street. You know? You could have slipped a piece of paper between it. That slowed me down a little bit. That's about the only. Like, see, I kind of pretty much learned to drive on my own with him. And I drove off Owl Ridge with Noah. That's pretty steep, yeah. Yeah.
Think of that road right now. Down there, just about to Kernville. We'd back up in the woods there. Bleak come down around the corner, and I stopped. Eventually got her stopped. He had one wrap on the reach. Old belly was up. All the air leaked out of his brakes. His wigwag come down. And I said, "What's this?"
Who was that?
Blakeney.
Jim Blakeney.
Don't you come back till you get the air hoses on that thing. He never had a break one. So he went to town and went to Shipler's shop. The mechanic in there, Tom tore his air hoses off. He had to have so Tom got him he bought him some new air hoses. He come back and get another load of logs. But I'll tell you, he was a piece of cake to haul logs with. Never a dull moment.
Now, my dad tells a story about you and him getting in a race going up Soda Fork one time.
No, Moose Mountain.
Yeah, Moose Mountain, that's what it was. Something about he was ahead and he hid and he told you to catch him and you was trying to catch him.
I was trying to catch him.
And he was behind you.
No, he eventually he was, and then he was behind me.
He did that on.
He went pull off on a side road, and I went on by like the inside out of a grape.
Somebody tried to pull out on me too. You remember that?
Huh?
Don't you remember when you tried to pull out on me?
Did I try to pull that on you and it didn't work? Let's try her again. The first you don't succeed, try again.
Try again.
Dad said Sid was going so fast trying to catch him, pretty soon he started finding wrappers and binders and stuff laying on the road.
No, I didn't lose any wrappers and binders. It must have been somebody else.
Going around the corner so fast he's throwing the stuff out of his chain box.
And he was already ahead
He was
of
going
him,
uphill all day.
Yeah, he was already.
Somebody had been disastrous. Or somebody been coming down. Yeah, we had a lot of fun hauling logs back in them days. Everybody had their turn at it.
Yeah, it was a lot of
One
fun.
guy, everybody had fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Remember when I met you first?
Yeah.
Coming down the canyon with low logs, I caught him. And he says, "Can you tell me where Sandy Am Lumber's at?" I said, "Sure." I said, "That's where I'm going." He said, "Well, just pass me and I'll follow you." And I thought, that's the wrong thing to do. I tried to outrun him. I couldn't outrun him. He got down there at the mill and he got out and he was laughing and shaking his head. He said, "You always drive like that?"
I remember one time I was sitting at the lumber dump or log trailer there at San Am Lumber, just loading my trailer. Kenny Noah come in. And he was another one of them, just had one wrapped around his reach. Stop. I says, "How long's the air hose been dragging, Kenny?" "Probably 35 miles. 4 turn 2.
Your turn, Roger.
Oh, I've just been contributing to all of these stories.
You guys got any Bob Whitfield stories?
Oh, I don't want to embarrass old Bob. He's not here to defend himself. I wish he was here. I almost.
Who's that?
Bob Whitfield.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about getting an old crew bus, so I think Hull Oaks has got one, and getting all these old truck drivers that don't want to drive up here, having Crummy get them up here.
There you go.
It'd be kind of fun.
Him and I know Joe Stutz was hauling logs over Pendleton. We got the last load, the last day we was working.
Can I tell a story on you, Sid, after you're done?
So I took all the logs I had on the landing. We got top of Cabbage Mountain, started down Cabbage, and got them snow fences, you know. Well, somebody gave us a way sign, and man, my heart was thrown. So I stopped, and I'm scratching my head, and I don't know what to do. And Whitfield says, well, let's roll a log or two off. So we did. Well, we didn't anticipate it going down the hill as far as it went, but it took out about 3 snow fences on the way. Got down the bottom of the hill, and I was still overloaded. I got an overload ticket. Whitfield was behind me. He got one. So Bob, he went right into town at Pendleton. He paid his. We was going home after we dumped them loads. So Bob, he went into Pendleton, had a woman judge. He paid the bill. Of course, we go on home. I get home and tell my wife about it. Well, I don't know how we're going to pay it. I said, I don't know either. Didn't have a to throw it out of. And anyhow, I started drawing unemployment. So I wrote him a sad story, you know, and I'm on unemployment now, and I don't have much, but I'll send you $10 a month, or $10 a week until I get it paid, $160.
Whoa.
So I told Whitfield about it.
Time to go, huh?
So I send the money in. About 2 or 3 weeks later, here comes the deal from the judge over there in Pendleton. We can't accept your money as being from your unemployment check. So, due to the circumstances, we're going to suspend it on a hardship basis. And on the back of this letter, you'll find your check. So I've told Whitfield this many times, and he aggravates him every time.
$160 back then. It must have been
That was
pretty
a
good
lot.
overload.
It was a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
Bob's was like $35.
Okay, Robin, tell us about Sid.
Well, he said something about hauling logs with Joe Stutzman.
Oh, Mosey Gear Joe?
Joe Stutzman. Anyway, Joe Stutzman and Sid were sitting down at Truax one day, and they were going to go to Longview together. Go load of logs. Old Sid, he walks over to his radiator, and he had one of them birds on the hood, you know. He said, hey, Joe, see this bird right here? Joe says, yeah, what about it? He says, it's going to be pecking on your ass all the way up there.
I remember I had a little LF Mac. We was on with the same jail with her.
Remember that?
Yeah. We was headed up Cabbage Mountain, and I seen Joe coming by me, and I thought, there ain't no way he's passing me. So I reached behind the seat, and I got the ether can out. Boy, was that the wrong thing to do. It just scared the living daylights right out of me. I didn't only slow down, I stopped. But me and old Joe had a lot of fun on logs. We hauled a lot of logs together. Yep. Bless his heart, he was a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, lots of logs with him too.
We hauled lots of logs together.
He followed me at Haley's. Well, real close he followed me.
We got up
like pecking on
That's a pretty good task.
We was up on what's that out of up what's that road that turned across there at going up Courtsville? Went across the first road went across the creek there before the river.
Rocky Top.
Huh?
Rocky Top.
Rocky Top. We was hauling off of Rocky Top. I backed in there and I get me a load of logs. Les Namath run the shovel, loading right away. So he loads me up and I get out and I said, he put a log on. I says, Les is too heavy.
No way.
He says, well, Joe would take it. I says, well, take the tongs on it, set it down here, we'll write his name on it, he can get it when he comes back. But he did, he took it off and gave me a smaller log.
Yeah. Joe would take it.
Yeah, Joe would take it. That's good. Remember one time out at, I was going by empty one time, headed back into town. I don't know where I'd been, but anyhow, Joe was stopped at, no, I was going into Griggs, Western Veneer. And Joe was stopped there had a flat tire on the front. So I stopped and I was helping him. He was running around like a little banty rooster, you know, and I said, what's your hurry? Well, he said, I don't want old, what the, Beelix boy, what was his name?
Charlie?
Huh?
Charlie?
Charlie's boy. What did they call him? Anyhow, he didn't want him to pass him. He's went into Lebanon or someplace, and he didn't want him to pass him. He was trying to get that tire change to get ahead of him. So about the time he started putting the lug nuts on it, went old Bleakley's truck, or Beelix. So we got our old tire up, got the front wheel back on it. Joe takes off. I think with a day or two of that, we was at the coffee shop. He said, you know, I can't believe it. That guy was changing the front tire, had a flat tire on the front when I went by. And when I got to the landing, he was sitting there loading logs. He went up the shortcut up Thomas Creek. I couldn't believe it. He had a tire off, and I went by, and he was sitting there loading logs when I got there.
I'm Chauncey Demme, and I run shovel for a lot of years starting out, and I was a stickler on getting them up to weight. And I never did. Always my goal was to always have a saddle left. Never wanted to have a load that I couldn't put another log on if they needed it. And so Chauncey, he was, I mean, I'd get him right up there, and we was a fussing with it one day, and I finally got him up there real close, and he come back there, and he says, Mike, he says, if you really want, there's some big old chunks of bark over here laying alongside of June. We can get her right up there. He says,
get her right on the mud.
I remember some of those loads that you loaded on me didn't have saddles left.
No.
He used them all, huh?
That's
the way wrappers wouldn't go around.
Out of Whitey Creek.
Yeah.
We went up to Haiti, up old, who's the old boy that runs shovel for Bud up there? Rick Gordon?
Well, no, Les was his.
Not Les.
Oh.
No, Needle Nose.
I can't remember who he was, but anyhow,
I can't either. Big tall
I was loading right behind Randy. Randy was driving that old yellow Kenworth or Otter, Kenworth I guess it was. That old yellow.
That's C500.
Yeah, that back front axle thing.
Yeah.
He was hauling that, and Randy was going out with a little logs. Pretty soon I'm coming out with a lot of load behind him. I meet Everett.
Hemphill. Eddie Hemphill.
Everett's this way.
Yeah.
Slow down. Slow down. So I slowed down. I stopped. I said, what's the matter? He says, I'm going to get range it where you can load ahead of Randy. He says, I can't keep enough tires on his truck to keep him back ahead of you.
I remember one time we was hauling out of Canal Creek and for Tomco. Mike bid that job. Supposed to be a helicopter job, and did a dead man. Remember that?
Yep.
And anyway, we were up there. Mike said, we're going to have to go pretty fast on this job. He said, because I bid her pretty low. He said, we got to have 4 trips out of here. So we were doing the 4 trips. And one day he come up on the landing and he said, boy, he said, you need some new front end tires. I said, yeah. So he said, well, go get front end tires. So I got front end tires. Come up about 2 weeks later and he said, you need front end tires. Did you change them? I said, yeah. 3,000 miles out of a set of them.
Yeah.
3,000 miles.
That's Portsville.
Yeah. This is one on Chauncey and Everett, Denver. Anyway, Chauncey was one of my main instructors, and I got this job when we just started into the export, going up to Longview, and it was either there or Oregon City or that. And anyway, I figured that job on 3 trips a day. We were right in town, you know. And Chauncey, boy, he was. I can't do her, Mike. I can't do her. And a couple of days went along, he would not do her. So I thought, I'll fix this. I called Everett, Denver. He come up there, and sure enough, first day 3 trips. Oh, Chauncey come back and he said, "My God, if he can do her, I can do her." That was it. We were getting our 3 trips.
Fred Stigman.
Start over. I didn't have the record button on.
I driving truck for Fred Stigman. Had a little EQ Mac. And we was hauling up the right away out of between M&M Main Line and Canal Ford. He was logging the right away out of there. And old Lorne Golly and Curly Engel, and I don't know if any of you guys remember all them guys or not, but Curly Hance, way back down the line. Anyhow, old Lorne, he was coming out with a load of logs, and we had to turn across the road, and he couldn't get by. So I was waiting for a load, so I went on around, I walked over there, and I started talking to old Lorne. And we'd BSing about one thing or the other, you know. And I said, Lorne, I got this problem. He said, what's the matter, kid? He always had on crossways, you know. I said, well, everybody's talking about me driving too fast. He sticks his arm out the window and he says, son, you got her made. They're all looking out for you. Never forget it. But them were good old boys. We had a rock going up around a rock bluff there just before you get the M&M main line. Boy, and I'll tell you, if you didn't have any speed up, you slide right off a creek. And that little old EQ Mac, you couldn't hardly get going fast. And I'll tell you, I sucked the upholstery out of the seat many times going over that one. Boy, it was slick.
47.
Hold it. Let's start over here. I didn't have the record button on. Now, what's the deal? This is Jim from Redmond. He's not a log trucker, and he doesn't really like him. I don't know why he's here. Go ahead and tell the story.
Okay. Coming down the mountain, these guys are trying to get another trip in.
You assume.
And I heard you, no, they've all said it. They've all said it already. Got to get 4 loads, remember? Anyway, their log truck was skidding over the yellow line every time they come around the corner. You know, how much longer am I going to be able to avoid this, you know? And I was getting pretty hot, pretty mad about it. And I don't know. I'm going to bring a shotgun up there and I'm going to take the other windshield out. And that's going to slow them down. Oh, you better not do that, he says. I said, it's serious because there was at least 3 loads of log laying off of the side of the road where they come off the dang truck. What's happening if I'm in that bite? The whole family's going to be annihilated.
Yeah, but Jim, was all 3 of them loads laying there the same day, or was there a couple days between each one?
No. It was. They hadn't picked them up yet.
Did you shoot out any windshields?
No, I never did.
Well, that thing must have worked out pretty good for you then.
Just threatening was enough.
Yeah.
Well, it was a busy place. There was hundreds of loads of logs went off the Tombstone.
Oh, that was bad
back when it was going on.
Hundreds of them.
It was fun.
In the 60s.
Lots of smoke and brakes burning, and it was lots of fun.
Yes,
He says the
They hung logs one winter back off of the backside of Deer
Oh,
Creek.
he's exaggerating. You had to be kind of brave to haul off to travel Tombstone, and evidently he wasn't.
We was on logs back at the snow cap back there off of Bear Pass. Go down the other side on Deer Creek. It snowed one night, and Larry Chafin has got a picture. I don't know if he still got it, I don't know or not now. But the snow was above the stakes on his trailer loaded on the back of his truck. That's how deep it was. Higher bladed the road out to the highway. We can make it. Yeah, that's no problem.
This was higher here.
So we're hauling logs out of here. We're hauling logs. This all froze up, man. We're doing great till the road thawed out. Find out where he bladed the road, wasn't no road there at all. It's about 15 feet on or 20 feet on down to where the switchback went, but he cut across the middle with it. We made her. We did.
Mike, tell them about the landing you built up on Tidbits out of snow. Remember that?
No.
Went down there, the landing was probably 30 feet below the road.
Oh, yeah.
Just put snow in there and hauled bark dust on them.
Oh, yeah. We did.
You gonna get out of that thing?
Yeah, no. Tidbits threw me off. But yeah, we were up top Canyon Creek, and we had this
Don't
dog
pull me down now, you get out.
that had to be logged on snow. Forest Service sail, and they kind of got into a fad for a few years where we could catalog on the snow in the wintertime. Anyway, we got up there, and it just started raining. You know, when the snow all left. So what I did during that time, I took a bunch of old rip rods, limbs, and stuff, and made a subgrade down in there without using dirt because I couldn't do that. And we took off for spring vacation that year, and it snowed 8 feet. That week I was gone. And we come back in there, and I graded that road out. And I know another funny part of that. But anyway, we got that road down in there, and we started trucking out in the morning, and every afternoon it'd thaw out, and we couldn't get out of there. It would get melted, and we couldn't make it. So we had Tomco bring us up some hog fuel. Who was it? Who was that driver?
Slide and Clyde.
Slide and Clyde. Anyway, I said, well, I'll hook onto your bumper and let you down in there. I mean, we know Bogart started, that bumper was laying right there on the ground. Took my cat down there and he went backwards. Went to the bottom. That was probably 600-700 feet.
Steep, too.
Right, 18 or 19%.
Oh, wow.
But we did get the hog fuel on, and them trucks would pull out of there.
All right.
They would.
That's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Slide and Clyde.
I'll be darned.
You remember the time when we were, I think it was at the saddle of Sheep Creek and back in there just a little ways. And it got down to 0. And, you know, and we had that one little hill that we came down and went across a creek, if I remember right. It was all timber right there. And they had to let us down with a cat to that creek and then we could get out.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, can't think of his name. Used to live on Port Drive.
Yeah.
Oh.
Walker.
Yeah.
He had the Ute cat up there and he'd let us down. And I got to sliding. And you know, he got worried the cat was sliding.
Yeah.
So guess what he did? He just turned loose of the drum line. Well, boy, that creek got big fast.
He was pulling him down.
He said, we got stopped and he come rattling back down there and he said, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I think so. And he said, there wasn't no use two of us going down like that.
In the later days, I was hauling chips for old Latimer over here. He's sitting in his office there at Bowman, and I pull in there and I get me a load of chips. It's one of them times when I was in a hurry. I get in there, open up both bunkers, drop the load, got my ticket, made my ticket out, took off, and I looked in my mirror. You cannot believe how fast them chips come out of that bunker when the door's open. I backed up. Here comes Latimer.
Ruby, come
He says, what happened?
This
I
is
said,
Latimer
well,
back here.
I guess I could tell you the guy in front of me done it, but it's pretty well got my trailer covered up, so I guess I did. So, anyhow, I get everything taken care of. He comes back by, and the guy was with him was Russ Sheffer, which was the chip buyer for Albany Paper Mill, and them logs in the field down there were his. Latimer says, you at least could have come by when we wasn't chipping his logs.
Got us a story, Bill? No?
It'd all be on set anyway.
Well, that's okay.
Roger, there 76, I think it was, when they blew the corner.
Oh,
Just
they're on
out of
Crooked Hill?
town. And you said something about all the trucks back then. There was
Whiskey Butte.
Yeah, but to get loaded, going in loaded, there's trucks lined up for a long ways, loaded trucks.
A couple hundred of them probably.
Go ahead and tell them what you done.
I can't remember.
Some of them didn't wait.
Well, I did, but I come back over Whiskey Butte empty once I got loaded there, but yeah, some
You
people,
went from the highway up over Whiskey Butte?
yeah, come
loaded?
back empty.
Some of them tried that load stuff and it didn't work out real
You
I
can
know a
get
guy
back.
that made it.
I made it.
good. You had a run at it?
No, Bleakley. He said, don't ever go that way. There's a switchback up there. You just tear up everything trying to get around.
I think Keith Cowan tried that too, didn't he? How'd that work out for you?
Not real well.
Did you back down?
I backed down to that one.
That's fun, isn't it?
Well, to that, there's a driveway right across from that house.
That's right.
Backed off in there.
That's when they was holding us up real bad on that highway project, and we was supposed to be getting 3 and 4 loads a day, and we was getting 2 and 3. And one afternoon, there on Highway 20, there that stretch between Sweet Home and Cascadia. We pulled up there, and
I don't remember getting held up.
You had the little barrel nose at that time, because we was hauling for shipper up there, and they blew the corner that morning. Just reading there were some mini homes. They put more powder in it than they thought.
Atcher was doing the same. I think they hated
Bigger hole than wanted.
I remember I was parked right in front of the store in Cascadia, and there was a solid line of trucks.
There was 67 loads of logs sitting up there one day. All
I remember that.
Yeah.
well, there was more than that day, because they had the highway closed for a half a day, and everybody was going back over Whiskey Butte empty, so all the trucks were loaded. Every truck that was coming down that canyon had time to get up and get loaded by the time they opened the highway, and there was over 100 of them. I wish somebody would have had a video camera there at the scales when they all come through there, because it would have been quite a picture. But that one day, we got tired of getting held up, and Earl Gifford was right behind me. And we got to talking about how this was getting ridiculous, and Earl says, well, I'll go if you'll go. So I pulled out and took off, and Earl right behind me. There were several others that was going to be in on this convoy too.
Oh, you started.
So anyway, we went past that flag gal. She was waving that stop sign and trying to, we just went right on by and looked in my mirror, and it was just Earl and me. There wasn't nobody else with us.
Like a bunch of truckers.
Yeah.